Usually Sunday mornings, alhamdulillah, we have dedicated to the seerah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We study something from the seerah. Last night here in the masjid, we had a community event that was focused around the seerah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Young children, they were able to compete in regards to their knowledge of the seerah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was a very beautiful event. The children, they had to study the entire study guide that was given to them, along with their parents, in order to prepare for that study event. And alhamdulillah, it was a very beneficial event. Prizes were given out. And after all, this is one of the most noblest forms of study, the study of the seerah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Previous generations, they would study the seerah with great vigor and with great interest. Just like how we can remember growing up when we had to study the Quran at our local masjid with the local Imam. Our teachers would recite the Quran, and then our teachers would have us repeat after them. Similarly, the previous generations, they also would study seerah in this manner, with dedication. But over time, certain practices, they tend to fall off, or people forget about it. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings the next generation and revisiting or restarting of the study. It takes on different forms. It sort of evolves over time. So yesterday was probably one of those, we were witnessing real time that the study of the seerah took on a new role. To encourage the next generation to study the seerah, we had to make it in the form of a trivia question, competing against one another, the children. So they took great interest in that manner. So as parents and guardians, we have to find ways to reinvent or rekindle that love that the younger generation, they want to learn regarding the seerah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After all, what is the benefit? What is the benefit of studying the seerah? If we ever pick up a classical work of the seerah, we will always find that the authors, they did not begin their work immediately from the day Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam became a prophet, but rather the authors, they always gave some form of context. They would always begin with what did Arabia look like before the birth of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We always hear about the year of the elephant, how Abraha wanted to destroy the Kaaba. We hear of other events that took place pre-birth of our Prophet ﷺ in Arabia. So again, it gives us, as a reader, it gives us context that what did that era look like. Just like how right now in 2023, if we ever wanted to describe 2023 to anyone, we had to give them context. We were just coming off a global pandemic. The entire world shut down. Everyone was stuck in their homes. There was a supply chain panic. And all of these things, we have to give context in order for anyone to explain what we are experiencing in 2023. So similarly, during that era as well. For us to ever appreciate the study of the seerah, we have to understand what was the world like in that era. What type of generation, what type of people did Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam come upon? And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who did he have to face as an audience? So very quickly, I know everyone is looking forward to the breakfast. We'll just go over a few benefits. There are too many benefits to study the seerah, but at least some of them that really stand out. If we ever want to understand the Quran, we have to study the seerah. Because the seerah gives us context. For example, Surah Al-Duha. You know, Surah Al-Duha, all of us sitting here have probably committed Surah Al-Duha to memory. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى till the end of the surah. Now here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking an oath, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not forsaken you, He has not given up on you. You know, your ending will be better than your beginning. It just sounds like, how are you going to connect the dots? So in order to understand Surah Al-Duha, for a simple example's sake, you have to understand that what was going on during that time. What was the cause of revelation? So you have to study the seerah. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was given prophethood. The first surah, the first verse is Iqra, and then there's a period of break, Fatratul Wahy takes place. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is very concerned, very worried, full of anxiety. He is uneasy, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to put it better, or lack of a better word, uneasy. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is considering what happened. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose me as a prophet, revealed the first verses, then a long break takes place. So here, Surah Al-Duha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is comforting, consoling our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and mentioning to him that he has not given up on him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Surah Al-Duha is like the new dawn, just like how right now we are witnessing a new day. So a new dawn. And again, we connect the dots through the study of seerah. Another reason why we should be studying the seerah is, after all, the seerah is full of lessons for all of us to take, to follow the perfect example. The perfect example is that of our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. So in order for us to ever emulate, to imitate, following the footsteps of our Prophet ﷺ, we have to study the seerah. And finally, studying the seerah, it goes directly in the face of people who are rejectors of hadith. There is a group that exists, and there will always be groups throughout millennia that form and they come up with some new theory. So there is a group of hadith rejectors. Hadith rejectors reject that, you know what, we're not going to even look at the hadith, we're just going to be people of Quran. So again, we just mentioned right now, how is it possible that you can just study the Quran exclusively without the seerah, without the sunnah, without the hadith? They go hand in hand, they are explanation of each other. And we just mentioned right now, how is that even possible? With a simple example. We don't have to go too much in depth to understand the importance of studying the seerah, studying the sunnah of our Prophet ﷺ, studying the hadith in order for us to better understand the Quran. And the Quran is a very unique, it's a study that the previous masters of tafsir, whenever they attempted to explain the Quran, they could never say definitively that this is the meaning of the Quran. Why? Because if we ever said definitively what the Quran meant, basically we are putting ourselves in crossfire, that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala meant. Always the scholars of the past, whenever they explain the works, that the tafsir, the meaning of the Quran, they always ended that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Allahu a'lamu bi muradi. If anything correct, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If anything wrong, I'm saying it's from me and shaitan. So these were the fine line that the scholars of the past they had to walk. And they always mentioned their fallibility, that we are humans after all. This is only an attempt to try and explain our religion a little better to ourselves, to the masses. So again, alhamdulillah, in Tawheed Center, we dedicate Sunday mornings to something from the seerah to appreciate, to learn, to hear about, so that inshallah we will be able to increase our love for our Prophet ﷺ. That is one of the main ways we can ever increase the love of our Prophet ﷺ is if we continue learning more and more and more about our Prophet ﷺ. Jazakumullah khair. Alhamdulillah. So we can now proceed to the social hall for the parents.